Hi, I'm Tzvi Deutsch, and the question I want to talk today about is the idea of does my life have purpose? That's the question I want to talk about today. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you as a frum Jew, as an Orthodox Jew, and I'm asking that question. I'm a believing Jew. I do believe that life has a purpose, but I think it's a super important question that a lot of people have, and it's a question that I've struggled with. I was raised from, and I guess when people ask me if I'm FFB or BT, I say I'm a BT FFB, or Baal Teshuva from birth. So, I had questions. I guess I would say that when I left Orthodoxy at a younger age, I didn't have too many questions. It was more emotional. I was just a very unhappy person. I was looking for something else. But when I started to explore my Judaism and to find out for myself, do I believe, do I not believe, what do I believe? These became very important questions to me. And if you have such questions, you're not alone. Everyone thinks about these things, and either you address them or you don't. But I think that in today's science-driven world, where we understand how everything works, I think you need to be able to answer these questions for yourself. You need to be able to. I forgot where this is from. It might be from Pirkei Avos. Da ma latashiv la bikaros. Know what to answer and not bikaros. And I think that that's really talking about ourselves. It says know what to answer a heretic, but really, we have questions and we need to know the answers. And there are different approaches to understanding the truth of the Torah, to understanding the truth of halacha in general, and these are different points here. But today I want to speak much more generally. I want to speak about the idea of providing proof for whether or not my life has purpose, that I have purpose as a Jew. There are different approaches that people take. Famously is the argument of first cause, and then there's the argument of mass revelation for the Torah. Today I want to focus on something much simpler. And throughout my journey, I've read a number of books on Jewish philosophy, and I also have friends who don't believe, and I have someone who I'm acquainted with in particular who he is observant, but minimally observant, and I guess he would be an agnostic. He has a lot of questions, and he doesn't necessarily believe. And when I presented this argument to him, which is for me is one of the core foundations of my belief in Judaism, when I presented this argument to him, he said to me, and this is somebody who is highly educated in Jewish and secular thought, said to me that this is the best argument out there for the idea of the Jewish people having a particular destiny, that we're here, that somebody put us here, that a being put us here, that Hashem put us here, that we need to be doing something different. And that is this. That is the fact that we are here, that we exist today as a nation. That's it. And I know it sounds a little simplistic, but think about it. Every great nation has come and gone. We were great once. We were greater than we are now, but we're still here. We're still a thriving nation, and we've been scattered around the world. And not just that, during all that time, many nations have actively tried to destroy us. And we're still here. We break all the rules that historians have about how nations come and go, rise and fall. We break all those rules. The fact that we exist today doesn't make sense. It doesn't make logical sense. There's no logical reason for the fact that we've survived, that we're here. And it's a very powerful argument if you think about it. The fact that we're here is a huge deal. And I think that Mark Twain, who's a famous American author born in the 1800s, he wrote a well-known essay that highlights this point. I'm going to read it to you. He says, "If the statistics are right, the Jews constitute but 1% of the human race. It suggests a nebulous, dim puff of stardust lost in the blaze of the Milky Way. Properly, the Jew ought hardly to be heard of. But he is heard of, has always been heard of. He's as prominent on the planet as any other people, and his commercial importance is extravagantly out of proportion to the smallness of his bulk." Take it. His contributions to the world's list of great names in literature, science, art, music, finance, medicine, and abstruse learning are also way out of proportion to the weakness of his numbers. He's made a marvelous fight in the world. in all the ages and has done it with his hands tied behind him. He could be vain of himself and be excused for it. The Egyptian, the Babylonian, and the Persian rose, filled the planet with sound and splendor, and then faded to dream stuff and passed away. The Greek and the Roman followed and made a vast noise, and they're gone. Other peoples have sprung up and held their torch high for a time, but it burnt out. And they sit in the twilight now or have vanished. The Jew saw them all, beat them all, and is now what he always was, exhibiting no decadence, no infirmities of age, no weakening of his parts, no slowing of his energies, no dulling of his alert and aggressive mind. All things are mortal, but the Jew. All other forces pass, but he remains. What's the secret of his immortality? So this is the question that Mark Twain was asking. It doesn't make sense. So the fact that we're here, the fact that there doesn't seem to be a logical explanation for our existence other than a divine one, to me is a tremendously powerful point, and helps give me a logical foundation for my own faith. If I'm here, and I'm here as a Jew, part of a Jewish nation that has survived all this time, I must be here for a purpose. And it's just huge. It's just huge. You have to think about it a little bit. We take it for granted. We live in America or Israel. I'm here in Israel. We take this stuff for granted that we exist. But if you think about it, it just doesn't make sense. And not only do we exist, but some of the Jews are have greatness. Everyone knows that Jewish people are successful in business and successful lawyers. And they rise to positions of power. I mean, the country of Israel in 70 years became one of the greatest contributors of technology in the world from nothing, from absolute dust. That's who we are as a people. And it defies all logic, the fact that we exist. So I want you to try to just think about that for a little bit and see what that means to you. To me, it's one of the core foundations of my own belief in Judaism. I hope you have a great day.